Hey guys, Jeff Voiles here. We're working our way downtown. One of my favorite, if not my favorite times of the week on Wednesday night. We're going down to meet our crew, and they should be there by now. I'm running a few minutes late, but I know the excitement's brewing. We got a lot of good stuff, a lot of great people, a lot of people that we can serve, and hopefully we can connect. So I wanted to get create a little more structure with this, because the last week or so we've had over 4,000 views on the several videos that have gone out. So we know that we're touching people, and we know that I'm pushing it out there so that we can really bring awareness to not only this, but it's about self-development too. So at the end of the day, we want to be able to hear something that we resonate with and that we can use. So hopefully I got a few things to say that make sense. I'm going to continue to pull them out and see if I can connect as well with people that are listening and viewing. So hopefully we can continue to grow this. But just so you know, at 5:30 on Wednesdays, I will be on here right at 5:30 unless something comes up. So I'm going to do a little bit of a 10 on the drive in, about 10-15 minutes. I'm going to touch on a topic each week that makes sense to me, that kind of relates to what's going on, but also kind of builds on a little bit of what we're saying, so, and what we're doing. So hopefully, once again, you can pull some things out of this that will really relate to you and help you get to where you want to be. So I'm going to keep focused on that. And Wednesdays, 5:30, once again, this is Jeff Voiles. We're going to hit a topic when we go live, and then work our way downtown, and then I'm going to grab one specific thing about what we're doing on Wednesdays. And so tonight I think I'm going to showcase the volunteers and the people that make this happen, although they are very humble, which kind of segue into what I want to talk about today. And this is can be somewhat of a complex topic, because when I trained like this in the Western world, and in the U.S. especially, humility is really something that continues to baffle all of us, I think. And when it comes to humility, it's like, what is that? Most of the time, the interpretation is that it's the loss of power, right? The loss of power. So we don't know how to be humble, and I speak in the general we, not specifically anyone viewing or listening, but in general, the general you. We don't know how to be humble, put it that way. The majority, we tend to face situations that really, what can it do for me? Or even if it's not pronounced, it's what we feel. What can I get out of this? Even if it's the most subtle thing, whether it's interviewing for a job or being competitive. We live in this, what we consider duality. And in the US, or excuse me, the Western world in general, the duality is part of our existence. We wake up, and duality is looking at conflicts, or looking at certain diverse ways to look at things, and even the opposites, whether it's big, small, black, white, or we're always looking for that opposite attraction. And a lot of times it's very difficult to really delineate between what we should go after and what we go after. So a lot of times humility is not only confusing, but we don't know how to approach it and how to sustain it, because it is a feeling on the surface. It's a feeling of we're losing power, right? Excuse me. And it's not the case. We're actually gaining power. So people that are humble and practice humility and a life of humility actually have the strength, by not speaking, number one, but listening and being able to interpret. And next week we're going to go into social and emotional intelligence, because that is a component of being humble and practicing humility. So I think at some point we have to understand what humility is, and it's freedom from our pride, our arrogance. It's a freedom, and I think that it's difficult sometimes to understand when does that happen. Right? When does that happen? A lot of times it doesn't take place immediately. We really need to find a way to find ourselves in order to practice this. And and we just can't do it alone, and we can't do it without something happening. When something happens, there's a shift, and it's a paradigm shift, if you will, and it's something that's palpable in the sense of understanding that, wow, that just happened. And sometimes we just overlook it. Sometimes we don't acknowledge it. Sometimes it's that, that hocus pocus, or, really whatever our interpretation is of that. But at the end of the day, something has to shift in order to us to really focus on serving. And serving is one of the actions that help develop that. And serving is, once again, not an easy thing to do. And I always say, want more for someone else than you want for yourself. That's humility. The minute you can say, I want more for that person than I want for myself, that's a shift. But how does that happen? So we have to identify, I think, a lot of times where that focus is in our life. Where is it that we're going to feel that specific thing that pushes us in the right direction? And we talk about balance a lot, and really trying to find that alignment in our life, and practicing humility and being able to live that humble life results in, contentment and patience and the ability to relate. It's not easy to listen, right? And the like I said before, I think on my Facebook post was, immediate or infinite patience produces immediate results. And that 3-second rule of pausing and being able to really take 3 seconds to pause before you act or say or do something, it changes your life. I mean, it's tough to do because we're reactive. We're a reactive society. Rarely are we proactive, because that takes effort, right? Proactive means you have to be prepared. You're ready for circumstances, that you're able to respond. But reactive is just sometimes shooting from the hip. So we can't really depend on that. It confuses people, and it confuses, the balance or the alignment. So practicing humility is a long-term thing. We talked about a little bit about ego last time. And ego, humility, they all go together. So living an egoless life really depends on humility and humbleness. And it really, being able to identify that is the first step. So we have to be able to find what are our limitations, what do we appreciate, how do we judge people. I mean, all of these things are a direct correlation with being humble and focusing on humility. I love the term humility, and I have for many, many years. It took me many years to figure it out, because I didn't know I could do it and not give up power. Power meaning that edge in business, or power meaning I can do this and they can't, or just the ability to come in first, right? And it's not important, because when I was able to really, my reactions were able to really decipher between kind and right. If you have a choice, you pick kind. You don't have to be right. So being right isn't being right, if that makes sense. If you're kind, you're eventually going to be right. So you talk about confusing people. Well, somebody who's not humble, or somebody who's not in alignment, somebody who's not able to balance life, they're going to be confused. You don't react, you listen. How many times have you looked at somebody when they actually listened? It's kind of weird to have somebody listen to you, because it's just uncomfortable until you really understand why they're listening. A lot of people who have that emotional and social intelligence understand that listening is a big part of it, because you're able to adapt. Situations, people, you're able to adapt to things that would mostly baffle people and confuse people. So that's the building process. I remember this one guy said, I won a medal for humility, but they took it away when I began to wear it. So it kind of gives you an idea. And this is a guy that I used to teach with at the university, and he was about as humble as they come, and he had so many awards and so many accolades and so many accomplishments you would never know. And those are the people that I tried to hang around, that I respected, because more came his way. And what becomes even more confusing is that when you try to practice humility and you step back and you have a quality or a state of being humble, you feel selfish. Try handling that. You know, when you feel selfish, at some point it makes you feel guilty. So try to get to that point and figure that out, because when I was really focusing on the practice of humility and humbleness, it was confusing. When I got to the point where more was coming my way, I didn't know how to handle it, because it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what I was trying to do. But it really, most of the time when that happens, you want to be able to identify it, but you also want to be able to do it, use it to the advantage of the situation. And a lot of times it's tough. It's tough. So that's just practice and time. And I'll keep saying, don't beat yourself up when it comes to getting things right and trying to understand your relationships or life. It's not about that. It's about waking up and going, okay, what is it that I can do better today than I did yesterday? And that's the challenge. The other thing that I want to do each week, I have 1,000 books, I think, that I've collected over the years, and I really want to share some of that, because I think that if you're able to see resources and topics, I need to be organized, or else I just can't. I can't get to the point. So at the end of the day, Wednesdays, 5:30, I'll be on here live. We'll talk about different topics. I think next week I'm going to talk about social and emotional intelligence and how that relates to life and how it benefits us, and it's an advantage. So we'll talk about that. But I also want to introduce a book each week so that you guys can really, if you feel like reading and you like to read, a lot of people don't. You can get the book on tape if you want, but books are cheap. You go to Amazon, they're cheap. And you buy them used, it doesn't matter. The letters are still the same. So you can get it for $1, $2, $3. Start building your library. I always told my students, do not get rid of your books. And any students that are listening now, because I have several of them that jump on here that I see, but don't get rid of your books. That's knowledge. Knowledge goes to wisdom. Wisdom goes to, truth. If you know something and you've actually participated in something and you have that knowledge and wisdom, then it's hard not to tell the truth. You really have a tough time not telling the truth. You have so much knowledge and wisdom and being able to use that to your advantage. So I think a book, I think a topic, I think some structure on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So the Saturdays we'll do the same approach, but I think Wednesdays will start, and look for me on Saturday mornings as well at around 7. We'll just make it at 7, okay? 7 o'clock and 5:30 on Wednesdays. If you can, subscribe or whatever that button is to know when I go live or join, because that's going to help a lot. Like I said, we've hit over 4,000 views, and it was quick. So this message, hopefully it is reaching people, and I hope to continue that because it translates into our life. As we move forward over the next several months, you'll start to see some of the business opportunities that I've had working with amazing people, and how that what we're doing here translates into a successful business, successful product, and being able to relate to people that come in to your establishment or your business. So nothing is disconnected. Once again, we deal with duality in the U.S., and it's challenging. When you have a dichotomy to face every day, then you're looking for the opposite, right? And unfortunately, it needs to be circular. So having said that, let me show you the book so we can get going. I've got to keep this under 15 minutes or YouTube won't do it. Let me see if I can put this. I'm going to put there it is. I'm going to post the YouTube. If you can subscribe, or at least I'm going to put all these videos on YouTube so it's a little bit easier to access. I'm going to categorize them. I'm going to put them in sections like my mind works, unfortunately, I can put it to where it's a little bit organized. So take a look at that. Real quick, I'm going to give you the book, and you can see we are ready. They are lined up. We are ready. So I'm going to jump out there, but this is a book, and you got to, oh boy, let me see. You've got to, boy, the light. It's called Mentoring, the Tao of Giving and Receiving Wisdom. This is awesome because I think it's a lot about, we've lost the art of giving. We've lost it. So we really have to find a way to, yeah, look how beat up it is. See, that's embarrassing. But the book is really, and you've heard of the Tao Te Ching. It's a variation of that, but this is on mentoring and giving and receiving wisdom. So I think this is a great book to start with. It's an easy read. I mean, you can read it and easily read it in one night. So I think that it's something that you'll get a lot out of. And if you're not sure what Tao is, Tao basically is reflects or really. Hold on, you don't want to look at the floor. Tao is a balance. Tao is everything that's in order. It's a natural balance. It's a harmony in life. It's a yin and yang. It's the alignment. So it's important to know that. So when you read this book, you'll see that once again it's an easy read. If you don't like to read, it's very simple. You'll be proud of yourself. You'll finish the book, but it is a natural balance. And so I think at some point, as we keep working on it, you'll see that the balance makes sense and starts to develop. But I'll end on this, and it is really about humility. But humility always begins in our heart, and it has to, because that's the natural instinct and intuition that we're born with, that innate ability to love, be kind, respond well, and not always look at being right. But humility always begins in the heart. It has nothing to prove, but everything to offer. So at that point, I'm going to let you go. I love all you guys. I'll see you I'll see you in a few minutes. I'm gonna talk to a few people here, do a quick video, and then we're gonna jump in and do some more work here. But if you have to go, all right, I'll see you on Saturday morning. All right, love you guys. See ya.